Alright, the following podcast contains spoilers for about 62 years worth of movies, including, but not limited to, Pacific Rim and Godzilla 2014, and a bunch of other Godzilla movies.
Hello and welcome to Uncultured Swine. I'm Ethan.
I'm sick, but I'm also Joe.
I'm also sick. Today we talk about 62 years of kaiju movies, as well as the newest in the Godzilla series, Shin Godzilla. But we're going to start out talking about all of the different kaiju movies that we watched. We watched, in the month of September and early October, we watched about 17 or 18 kaiju movies in preparation for Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, what happened was the tickets went on sale on the Funimation website, and I freaked out, and I bought them. And then we both kind of freaked out, and we just decided to just fucking melt our brains on kaiju movies. So that's what we did for a month. How many did we watch in total?
18 if you count Pacific Rim.
Yeah, way too many for somebody who has like homework to do every night.
Oh yeah. So we're just gonna go through, and we're gonna go in the order that we watched the movies, and we're gonna call this first part of the podcast the Kaiju-Cast. Just talk about our experience. Well, first of all, Joe, do you want to tell everyone your background with kaiju movies and with Godzilla?
You ever have like a dad who's like way too good at being a dad?
Yes.
That's what kaiju movies are to me. Like, I was a little baby, and I liked big old monsters, and I still like big old monsters, and I'm way more into it now than I was when I was a little kid, and I think it's the coolest thing ever. And don't test me on my knowledge, because I will crack an egg of knowledge over your head about any kaiju subject.
And because of this, Joe dragged me into it a month ago.
Oh yeah, you can't escape the giant monster void once you're in it.
It's the perks of being roommates is I get access to all of his Godzilla movies.
Perks. It's a curse, my friend.
It's a curse. Anyway, we watched a ton of kaiju movies this past month, and we're going to talk about all the ones that we watched, and then we're going to give you recommendations of which ones to watch.
Yeah, because we don't recommend all. I would recommend all of them, but maybe not everyone.
Yeah.
Because some of them are garbage.
So we kicked it off with Godzilla 2014.
He hadn't seen it.
I hadn't. No, I had seen 0 Godzilla movies. Actually, no, that's not true. I saw Son of Godzilla before we started.
That's right.
Which is not a good one.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
So what were your thoughts on Godzilla 2014?
Godzilla 2014. I thought the spectacle was great. The suit in quotes looked really neat. It did slow down a lot with the people, which is a lot of people's big...
The big criticism of Godzilla 2014 is that once Bryan Cranston dies in the movie and the torch gets kind of handed off to Aaron Taylor Johnson's character, the movie like really follows like this... The main character's boring, basically.
Yeah.
The human plot is just kind of not as interesting.
Which is it is a shame. The scientist character is always the most interesting character in the Godzilla movies.
See, like, the thing, though, is that, like, I love that Spielbergian thriller route that Gareth Edwards took with it, and kind of, doing, like, taking that Jaws route of, like, cutting from the action and, like, kind of saving it until the end.
Yeah.
But you gotta have, like, there's gotta be something in between the monster stuff to keep you interested. And Bryan Cranston was doing his job until he died, and then...
See, like I said, the scientist is the most interesting character in Godzilla, because you don't need just...
Serizawa?
Yeah, and Bryan Cranston. Just the way that you discover more things about the monster through the characters is the way to, first of all, learn more about your characters, because you understand what they've been doing and what they're going through right now. Yeah. But then also you get to learn more about Godzilla and what these people think about the monster and how they're going to deal with the monster. So just like completely getting rid of that and making it about a guy going to fight it, it kind of ruins that a little bit.
Well, I mean, I get it because the movie is attempting to be this globe-trotting adventure, like running into giant monsters at every corner kind of thing. So I get why...
Even though there's 3.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, but you can't really put Bryan Cranston in the middle of that because he's like 60 years old now.
Right.
So it's like, I don't believe Bryan Cranston would be running around San Francisco at the end of that movie trying to avoid giant monsters. I believe Aaron Taylor-Johnson would do that, but Aaron Taylor-Johnson is just really boring in it.
And I don't know, his family is kind of really boring in it.
I think when I saw this movie in the theaters, I was like so hyped for it because it was the first Godzilla movie in 10 years to come out since Final Wars. And I hyped it more than like literally anything else in my life. And I saw it and I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. Yeah. I had like a great time in the theater. I saw it twice. This is one that I wish I had seen in the theater. I think it would have been a way better experience to see. All of this all the movie's problems lie in the script. The direction is like really awesome.
It's really good. The monster is really good. I thought for the most part the casting, it was well done. The characters played the characters. Nobody was like underacting or overacting. It was played well. It just wasn't. They weren't saying great things. I guess
there's a few moments in the movie where the cinematography is really, really clever. And I like how it maintains like such a sense of scale to like all the monsters. Like there's not too many like impossible angles.
Yeah, I thought the sound design in it was really good.
I genuinely think this movie was snubbed for an Oscar for sound design.
Oh yeah.
I really think it should have been nominated because the sound is like amazing.
It was really good. And we're gonna try and stick to like 5-ish minutes for every movie.
Yeah.
And that's just about our limit for Godzilla 2014.
So 2014 is really entertaining on your first watch, I think. But I think it suffers on rewatches. I still think it's good. I like it a lot.
It would probably be fun to watch, especially just for the Godzilla parts. Like if you're gonna watch it for anything, watch it for the big monster.
Watch it for the Halo jump sequence.
That too. Yeah, that's really cool. Moving on to Gamera, Guardian of the Universe. This is the 90s Gamera.
This is the first in the 90s Gamera trilogy directed by Shusuke Kaneko, which is more often than not, I see it referred to as the Dark Knight trilogy of kaiju movies, because I guess the production value's been upped a little bit, and they're a little bit more serious than a lot of other... maybe about as serious as a Godzilla movie, because Gamera has always been for like little kids, and it's always been kind of cheesy and corny. But the Heisei trilogy is really good.
Yeah, I have always really liked the design of Gamera. Mm-hmm. I see the movies all over the place at like Best Buys in like the bargain bin, and I almost buy it every time I'm there because I like the giant turtle. I think it's a cool design.
You can buy every single Gamera movie in like a Blu-ray collection minus Gamera the Brave now for like $15.
Yeah, exactly. I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
And I had fun with this movie. I mean, it was a giant monster movie.
It's a really great start. I think the sequels are better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bummed that we didn't get around to watching those, but we still can.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no, I really like the 90s Gamera trilogy. The special effects are really good. I know Shinji Higuchi was the special effects director on this trilogy, and he is actually one of the co-director of Shin Godzilla. Yep. So he's been in the industry for a while.
Yeah, I thought the suit was really well done. I thought the monsters, they looked good. The design was pretty good.
The new Gauss is pretty sweet.
I don't remember what the human characters were in this movie.
I really like the human characters in the Gamera trilogy, mainly because unlike Godzilla, it doesn't drop characters between each movie. Yeah. It keeps consistent human characters throughout all 3 movies. I like the human characters. There's the scientist lady, she's cool, and like the scaredy cat detective guy.
Oh yes, I do remember.
The girl who has the psychic connection to Gamera's.
That's
Steven
right.
Seagal's daughter.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yeah, fun movie, fun monster movie that isn't Godzilla.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah, which is, when you hear kaiju movies, you don't jump to Gamera, but there are some good Gamera movies.
Yeah. I recommend the whole trilogy. It's pretty easy to find. And they're good. They're all really good.
Giant Monsters All Out Attack
is one of my top 3 favorite Godzilla movies. Easily.
I had a lot of fun with this movie.
Yeah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack is an amazing Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Also directed by Shusuke Kaneko of the 90s Gamera trilogy.
That's right. But no, I will remember this movie forever. It's like the first good Godzilla movie I ever watched.
Yeah, no, it's super good. I love the score. The score I remember a lot more than a lot of other Godzilla scores. I like that it takes like a fantasy route.
Yeah.
And less of a sci-fi one. It kind of really... I think the World War II origin story for Godzilla is super heavy-handed, but it's kind of... It's fine because it's kind of like a weird storybook sounding thing.
Yeah.
Like he's made of like the dead souls from like people who died in World War II.
And the three monsters that fight him are the Guardians of Japan.
The Guardian monsters, they're there to protect the trees and the rivers and the forests. Also, the first and only
homeland.
movie...
To protect the homeland.
Yeah. Also, the first movie where King Ghidorah is a good guy. The first and only good movie.
He and Mothra and...
great monster designs, too.
Oh, yeah. I love the Ghidorah design.
Yeah.
And the...
Godzilla looks scary in it.
Yeah, and Mothra moves really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing with the flying monsters in this series is... Like Rodan is cool, but he kind of just looks like a cardboard cutout sometimes.
Yeah, kind of. Well, especially in the older movies. Baragon gets his shining moment that he's always deserved. I love Baragon.
The fight between Baragon and Godzilla, and then does Ghidorah come in? I don't. But it's in the valley with the mountains. It's
with the gondola and.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite fight scenes that we watched.
Yeah, easily.
And I love the reporter girl.
Yeah, I like the human characters are really easy to get behind.
Yeah,
in this one.
She's like really relatable and just like super go get 'em. And I like the press. Like instead of being behind the government or being behind the scientist, it's behind the press.
She works for a mockumentary.
Yeah.
Sci-fi channel thing, and she wants it to be like a real news thing. It's cool.
It is. It's good. They almost get kicked out of a place for filming their mockumentary thing. They're like, I thought this was a real science documentary. And they're like, no. No, I liked it. I like that character a lot. I like the press behind it.
This is easily one of my favorite Godzilla movies.
Speaking of Joe's favorite Godzilla movies, Godzilla Final Wars.
Oh my goodness. Godzilla Final Wars is, think of all of the top 10 best sci-fi action movies you've ever seen and roll them into one movie and throw a ton of giant monsters in it. And you have Godzilla Final Wars, which is the world's best dumpster fire.
Oh my gosh, it's got everything.
I think it's amazing.
This was a movie made like early 2000s. This was the last movie before 2014.
2004.
The last movie.
This was the 50th anniversary Godzilla movie.
So many things happen in this movie. There's an American wrestler in this movie.
Don Fry.
And
he's great in it.
And there's aliens in this movie.
It's essentially a remake of Destroyah Monsters, if you've seen that one. But like turned into 12th gear. It's more like two brothers in a van than anything.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. There's X-Men stuff in it. There's Matrix stuff. There's Kung Fu. There's aliens. There's giant monsters. There's some 41 for some reason.
Yeah. Some actual criticisms of this movie. It seems like it was filmed by like 8 different people.
Oh my god, there's so much style in this movie. I like Ryuhei Kitamura as a director. I think he's done some like other movies that are they're cheesy action movies, but they're good. And I think he was totally the wrong director for the Godzilla movie. I guess he was just big at the time or something. But yeah, probably not the best choice for a Godzilla movie. And yeah, this movie, I swear, changes like cinematographers like 10 times, but it just doesn't.
Yeah, I like the suit in this movie. The suit looks cool.
The Godzilla suit looks really good. I like it.
Oh, something that we didn't mention about Giant Monsters All Out Attack. The Godzilla suit is awesome.
Yeah.
That is such a cool suit.
It is. I like it. It's kind of hunched over.
And with the white eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so cool. Anyway, moving back to Final Wars.
No, the suit looks really good in this one too. It's like you can still tell it's like a guy in a suit, but it moves really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit more. It's agile without being like thin, I think, and like the face in general just looks really good. It's like a really classic Godzilla design.
There's so many monsters in this movie. There are so many. Godzilla 98 is in this movie.
Yeah, Godzilla 98 is in the movie as a joke, and Godzilla kicks his ass.
Well,
in like
singing in
14 seconds.
They sing a song about how
the Sum 41 song.
Yeah. About how America screwed up Godzilla. Basically, that's the whole thing.
No, it's a good joke. I like it.
It is a good joke. It's funny. But so many. Oh, this is the first movie that we watched that had Minya in it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, this movie has Minya in it, and Minya looks good too. I like that they went with the classic Minya design, but didn't make him look like an abortion.
I know.
He looks okay.
Minya is Godzilla's son.
Yeah.
For those.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, so I know some people who don't know that. And I know quite a few.
A lot of people hate Final Wars. I love it. I think it's hilarious.
I understand why people hate it, but as a person who didn't come from a super Godzilla background and having this be the fourth Godzilla movie I ever saw, I can concur with that. I love this movie.
Yeah, if you ever really want to have a good time, sit down with maybe 4 or 5 other people and just watch Godzilla Final Wars, because it's so entertaining.
And moving on to Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla is one of my favorite Toho monster designs ever.
It's cool.
I
don't know whose idea it was, but it's fun. It's just Space Godzilla. It's like, okay.
I mean, lame name, not a super great movie.
I think it tries to be one of the higher points of the Heisei movies, and I think in some ways it is, but I feel like a lot of it kind of towards the end basically just turns into lasers and stuff. Yeah. A lot of lasers in this one.
Which, I mean, he's a Godzilla from space, which you kind of understand. But seriously, I love his design. I love the giant crystal spikes off of his shoulders. And
I like how much of a nemesis he looks like.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's pretty sweet. It's not my favorite of the Heisei series, but it's solid.
Oh yeah.
It's a Heisei movie.
I was gonna add. Why don't you explain for those who are listening, some of my friends who don't understand the different stages of Toho movies.
Oh, okay. So Godzilla starts out in the first movie came out in 1954, and from then on till 1975 was the Showa series. So that's all the old-timey Godzilla movies. And then from 84 to 95 was Heisei. There was a 10-year gap in between there. So then there's that, and then originally there wasn't supposed to be another Godzilla movie until 2005, but TriStar or Sony fucked up with 98, and so they had to start again in 1999 with Godzilla 2000, and that was the Millennium series, which lasted until 2004.
Yep, and then we just got rebooted.
Yeah.
Do they have a name for this series yet?
I don't even know if it is going to be a series or not.
The Shin series.
I guess you could call it that. Yeah.
It doesn't have the same ring to it as Heisei or Millennium.
It translates to True Godzilla.
The True
Godzilla.
The True God series.
God Godzilla. You could also call it.
Yeah. And moving on from Space Godzilla
Wait, would you recommend Space Godzilla?
Yeah. If you like Godzilla, if you like the other ones that we watched, I would recommend it.
It's fun. Also, Baby Godzilla's pretty cute in it.
Yeah. Always gotta go for the Minya movies. Moving on to Godzilla versus Megalon. This is one of my favorites.
This movie's a fan favorite for all of the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. Most of it is stock footage from Godzilla versus Gigan. Jet Jaguar was designed by a child, and you can tell.
Jet Jaguar is my favorite Godzilla character. As you can tell by the thumbnail of this
He's got a theme song.
Jet Jaguar is awesome.
I like Jet Jaguar.
Jet Jaguar, he's a small robot created by 2 scientists and who have a child, but they're both men. And he grows.
I don't know who these people are in this movie.
They're just 2 scientists who live together.
What's their story?
But they make this robot who grows really big and fights giant monsters, and it's the greatest.
And at the end of the movie, they were like, "We need to warn the world's governments about nuclear." Oh yeah, Atlantis is in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Megalon, he's a big bug. Where did he come from? Atlantis? Yes, actually.
This movie is so fun. It's so fun.
Oh, it's terrible though.
It's terrible, but in a different way that Final Wars is terrible. It's actually a bad movie, and just kind of cringy at some points, but there are awesome fight scenes in this for all the wrong reasons.
The drop kick.
The drop kick and all of the moments where Jet Jaguar and Godzilla wave at each other and they're like, "Yeah, do it again."
Oh, and they shake hands at the end.
They shake hands.
Oh, it's good stuff.
It's cheesiest, coolest movie ever.
Yeah. Definitely recommend this one.
I absolutely recommend this movie.
If you ever want to like kill yourself, watch Godzilla vs. Megalon. It's great.
Jet Jaguar rocks.
Next movie on the list is Daimajin.
Ooh, another good one.
Daimajin is one of the lesser known kaiju films. I believe it was made by the same studio that did Gamera, but Daimajin works as an actual movie.
Oh my gosh, Daimajin is cool.
It's not corny at all.
No, and it takes place all in like feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Which is really neat to see. I love seeing the giant monster up against the Japanese village.
Yeah. It's basically each Daimajin movie. There's 3. We watched one. Each Daimajin movie is a samurai movie until the last 10 minutes when the Daimajin shows up. It's a big statue that comes to life basically and fucks up the wicked. It comes to punish the wicked people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of shots in this movie where I'm like, how did they make that?
It's a lot of really good special effects for when it was made.
Akira Ifukube's score is really good too. He did all the music for Godzilla. He did the score for this too, and it's great.
The Daimajin monster suit looks really cool too.
Oh, I love the tone
of
the movie too. It's very dark and creepy, and it's like it takes itself so seriously.
And it is serious. Like it's not, when you see the monster, it's not silly. It's
frightening.
Yeah,
it's genuinely scary.
It's got this really scary Oni mask.
He kind of moves his arm across it, like shh, and all of a sudden he's got this face, this scary Oni face.
I really enjoyed this one. It reminded me of the original Godzilla movie, probably just because of the black and white and the more serious tone. But
it's in color, but it's very
monochrome.
It's very cold looking.
Yeah.
And no, but there's some like really good uses of color too. With like there's a lot of shots of the sky towards the end in the Daimajin fight where like it's just very like kind of red and purpley and really cool backdrops.
There's a lot of really good shots of the Daimajin coming for like the evil leader of the town.
Yeah.
He's really, the whole punishment for the wicked is a really
I love how the villain at the end of this movie just gets it handed to him too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, it's so great. I don't want to spoil it. I know we said that there were spoilers, but I love how the villain just totally gets his comeuppance at the end of this movie.
Yeah, and the way the Daimajin is discovered and the lore behind the Daimajin is cool too. And the reason that it comes alive is because people stop worshiping it and stuff, praying for it. And
there's the bit where they try to drive the nail into its head and it starts bleeding because... Yeah, there's a lot of like really scary like God will punish you talk in this too.
Yeah.
Like from a lot of the protagonists and stuff. And,
which is, to be fair, that's what happens.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie.
No, it's a crazy good movie, and I wish more people knew about it.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really good.
So that's on the watch list for sure.
No one ever talks about Daimajin, but it's a 10 out of 10 movie. Oh, and then we followed that up directly with Godzilla's Revenge.
Oh my gosh.
Possibly the greatest movie ever made.
I watched this movie with my girlfriend.
I don't think she likes me.
She didn't like that movie, that's for sure. This is a bad movie.
This was my favorite movie as a toddler, and to this day, I still think it's so enjoyable. Godzilla's not real in it. He's a figment of a child's imagination, and Godzilla's son Minya talks in it, and he teaches him to stand up to bullying.
Godzilla says I need to fight my own battles.
He's real strong underwater.
There's an anti-bullying message in this, but not even. It's not an anti-bullying message. It's you're being bullied. Punch that kid in the fucking face.
Yeah, but they end up being friends at the end anyway, so it's okay. And there's like this weird subplot where the kid gets kidnapped by like thieves.
That's the best part of this movie, I think.
It turns into Home Alone kind of at the end of it.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
It's really weird though, because they're all running around this abandoned building and there's like no music or anything. It's just this kid just like fucking around with like, these two like...
Yeah, and the two robbers are like, hey, no, come back. No.
Come back, kid. Hilarious movie. Gabra is the new monster in it.
And the bully.
Gabra's the bully and the monster bully. And Gabra as a monster is possibly one of the worst designs I've ever seen for a kaiju ever. It's so funny.
He's got like a mohawk and like...
No tail.
Spikes coming out his ears. And...
Yeah, he just looks like a big wart, really.
Yeah,
it's bizarre.
And his roar is stupid.
He used to scare me when I was a kid. Like, he used to really freak me out. I used to have nightmares about Gabra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have a real Gabra in elementary school?
I didn't. I was just really scared of Gabra as like a design. It like really creeped me out as a little kid. And he makes the weird noise, and I just used to hear it in my nightmares.
The noise is just bad.
Oh!
Yeah, what the hell?
It's like, it's so threatening. Definitely watch Godzilla's Revenge if you have masochistic tendencies, I guess.
Don't watch Godzilla's Revenge.
No, absolutely do watch it.
Don't watch it with your girlfriend.
Watch it with your dad, though. I have a great time watching this movie with my dad.
My dad would hate this movie.
Oh, my dad and I think it's great.
I could never watch this with my dad. And we move on to Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla.
Oh, yeah, we did a thing where we tried to watch all the Mechagodzilla movies in a row. All of them.
And we did.
We did, kind of. So we started with versus Mechagodzilla from 74?
Yeah,
1974, I think. Which is a good movie. I like this one.
I like Mechagodzilla as well. I like the robots in the Godzilla series.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, it's just because it's cool. I think the concept of the robotic version of the superhero is such a tired trope now, but it feels kind of new in this movie.
Yeah. Well, and it was.
Yeah.
When the movie came out. And I think it's interesting that Mechagodzilla was basically made to be stronger than Godzilla, which is the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And it is until, like, things go south, but... Yeah. And, like, all the power shuts off, and they're like, oh, man!
I just really appreciate the fact that this movie kind of realized that in the Showa series towards the 70s, Godzilla's kind of started to go to shit after Destroyah monsters.
Yeah.
Like, once Godzilla's Revenge rolled around, they got, like, really weird and kind of crappy until Megalon, which was the last crappy one, and then they picked up again with Mechagodzilla, and it's a good movie.
It is a good movie. I liked the characters in this one. They do in the Mechagodzilla in the Mechagodzilla series. They like to focus on the people like either inside Mechagodzilla or like making Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, which is cool. I like Mechagodzilla more in the later series as an invention of the government and less so as an alien weapon.
Yeah.
But the original Mechagodzilla is pretty cool, I guess.
And then we watched Terror of Mechagodzilla.
Terror of Mechagodzilla is one of those fan favorites that I don't really understand why it's one of the fan favorites.
Right.
A lot of people really think this is one of the better Godzilla movies, and I never quite understood that. I think it's good. I think Titanosaurus is the new monster in it, and I think Titanosaurus is annoying.
He just roars a lot.
He just makes it seem sound over.
He's a big dinosaur.
I like the character of the mad scientist.
Yes.
He's cool. He's in, not only is he a mad, he was a guy who wanted to find a big dinosaur underwater and was ridiculed by the scientific community, so he's in cahoots with aliens who rebuilt his daughter into a cyborg after she died.
Yep.
And
is this the one with the plane too, or is that
the plane?
Yeah.
The plane.
The plane that connects onto his back.
No, that's Mechagodzilla 2.
Yeah. These movies all kind of blur together as well.
Not for me. I've seen them all like a million times. So.
Well, yeah, I get that. But if you're watching them all in a row, they just kind of seem like the longest movie ever.
You know, Mechagodzilla comes back like stronger, apparently, supposedly.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing that he does, basically, in the first movie, Godzilla defeats Mechagodzilla by ripping his head off, and in this movie, he does the same thing, but he's got like another smaller head under his head, and he's like still fighting, and it's like ah.
Is this the one where they call him Mecha G?
No, that's the Millennium series.
Yeah.
They just call him Mechagodzilla in these.
Mecha G.
So Terror of Mechagodzilla is good. I'd say it's about as good as the first Mechagodzilla. It's got better characters in it, maybe. Like human characters. I think the fights toward the end get a little tiring, to be honest.
A little bit.
Goes on a little long.
Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. I remember liking this one a lot.
Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2 is it's good.
Yeah, I remember liking this one a lot. This is the one with the jetpack.
Yeah.
Which is, I think there's this character who like the whole time is like, I'm gonna help fight Godzilla. And the whole time people are like, no, you're not. and then at the end of the movie, he gets in a plane and is like, we're gonna combine now to the pilots of Mechagodzilla, and he just connects onto the back of
it's like this big like fighter jet, super jet thing that they didn't even build to attach to Godzilla, and it like does anyway at the end. It's not called Mechagodzilla 2 because it's a sequel. The character is Mechagodzilla 2.
Yes.
It's like the Mechagodzilla Mark 2. not in the canon, but in like the license.
Yeah, it even says so on Mechagodzilla.
Does it?
Yeah, remember? There's an emblem like on the first Mechagodzilla. It had an MG, and then it had an MG.
No, that's Terror of Mechagodzilla that had the MG too.
Oh.
This is a totally different Mechagodzilla because this is Heisei series now.
That's right. It has cool like once the plane gets on his back, he has cool like shoulder blasters.
Yeah, yeah.
And he flies. Oh my gosh, the flying sequence in this
good.
movie, it's also kind of hilarious because you can tell they just like put him on a string and like flew him around. No, it's good though. It's a fun movie.
The Mechagodzilla design is cool, I think, up until you get to the face, and then it gets a little weird. I like how chrome he is, like up and down.
Yeah.
Really, there's not like a whole lot of intricacies in there. It's kind of minimal. Rodan's really sweet in this movie.
Rodan's
cool. In it. This movie started the Baby Godzilla canon in the Heisei series, which is cool.
Baby Godzilla.
Which I actually really enjoy.
Oh, that's right. This is the one with the flying bike thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a scientist in this who is obsessed with flying dinosaurs.
That's his quirk, is he's really into flying dinosaurs, and he gets put on the Mechagodzilla team for some reason. But I don't care because it's fun.
I love the Baby Godzilla design in this movie.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's literally a small Godzilla.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And he eats plants, and his eyes glow red when he's scared.
Yes.
It's funny.
And they're actually the Baby Godzilla canon in this whole series is really good.
In the Heisei series, yeah, it's super good. I like Mechagodzilla, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla too. Again, it's a lot of lasers, but that's to be expected from Heisei, really.
And from a giant robot Godzilla.
Basically, yeah. It's pretty cool. It's not the best of the Heisei, but and then next on the list is
Godzilla against Mechagodzilla.
Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, which was so the Millennium series started in 1999 with Godzilla 2000 and ended with Godzilla Final Wars in 2004, but each movie kind of reinvents itself and really only uses the original 1954 Godzilla as a backdrop.
Right.
All the Millennium movies have nothing to do with each other, except Godzilla against Mechagodzilla, which is the prequel to Tokyo S.O.S. So those two are the only movies in the Millennium series that have a canon connecting them. I don't know why they decided to do that, but it's cool. I really like Against Mechagodzilla. I didn't like this one as much when I was a little kid, but I went back and rewatched it again when I was older, and I actually like this one a lot more now.
Yeah, you actually watched this twice in the past couple months.
I like half watched it, and then you came in, we decided to watch 2014 instead.
Yeah, so I saw part of this movie, and then I saw the whole movie, and I did like this movie.
Yeah, I love Kiyu. The new Mechagodzilla is called Kiyu.
Yeah.
It's a really sweet design. I like the concept that they made him using the bones of the original Godzilla skeleton.
Oh, there's some really good lore ideas.
It's basically a ripoff of Evangelion.
Yes.
They build a giant robot using like a biological frame, and then it has like this genetic memory, and it goes berserk.
That's right.
Evangelion.
That's right.
It goes crazy.
That's a really yeah. Oh,
yeah, it's basically Evangelion. It's cool. I mean, it's not. It's like I wouldn't call. I hesitate to call it a shameless ripoff because I like it, but that's kind of what it is.
No, I like this one. I totally forgot about that part, and the poster is awesome.
Yeah, the poster's really sweet for this one.
I'll put a link to the poster in the description.
Yeah, that's the DVD cover too.
Yeah, the poster for this movie is awesome.
Also,
the suit is really
good.
The
Godzilla design in this is fantastic.
Oh, it's really cool. One's one of my favorite Godzilla designs.
Yeah. I think the human characters in this one aren't all that great. There's the little girl who talks to her plant like it's her dead mom. It's a little weird. And then her dad is just like, whatever, I don't care about him.
Yeah.
And then the main character, arguably the main character, is the soldier lady on the Mecha G team.
Yes.
And she's basically the exact same character from Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. I know we didn't watch that one, but she's the exact same character, really.
She's not bad.
She has like the same backstory and everything.
She's not bad though.
She's not bad. No, it's just I mean they already did it in the movie before this one, so.
They fixed the Godzilla head in this one.
The Mechagodzilla.
Yeah, the Mechagodzilla.
I love the Kiyu design. It's sweet.
Yeah, it's really cool. It kind of looks more like an alligator than.
Yeah, he looks like a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
He's also got the Absolute Zero gun.
Oh yeah.
Which is a really great addition. He's got a gun that freezes things and sends them into Absolute Zero, and it's apparently the most powerful thing ever. It's cool.
Yes.
So I think it's a really great start, but I think its sequel, Godzilla Tokyo S.O.S, is better.
I did like this one. I know I made a lot of jokes about them trying to call Tokyo S.O.S. the whole time.
Yeah.
But I did like this movie.
I think it's fun. The title kind of makes it sound like another Final Wars, kind of like, oh no, all the monsters, but really it's just this nice battle between Godzilla and Mechagodzilla and the Mothra and the Mothra babies, which is really, I like it. It's such like a concise Godzilla movie.
Yeah, I think
the fights are cool. The fights are really cool.
I do think it's funny that the government again is like, what if it goes berserk again? And they're like, nah, it won't, and then it does.
Yeah. Yeah, but Mechagodzilla saves the day at the end of this. Remember?
That's right.
He gives the guy a little thumbs up on the computer, like.
I forgot. Some guy gets trapped in Godzilla in this movie.
He's the main character, and he's the only one who could fix Mechagodzilla after he breaks down.
That's right, because he was just an engineer on the Kiyu suit. They stopped calling it Kiyu in this movie.
Yeah, they call it Mecha G now.
Yeah, Mecha G.
Mecha G. Hey, are you on the Mecha G team?
Yeah. No, I'm just an engineer.
I like the human characters in this one a lot more. The grandfather, I forget the name of the actor who plays him, but he was in a lot of Toho movies and he's good. And I like seeing his face. And he died this year, I believe. Rest in peace.
The Mothra twins are in this movie.
The Shobijin, and they're good in this movie. I like them. The Shobijin are never bad.
Yeah. They're there for a purpose. Of course, Mothra dies again. Mm-hmm. Always.
Yeah, no, this is one of the better Godzilla movies, I think. I don't know if people ever call it that or refer to it as one of the better movies, but I think it's cool.
I think it was cool too. I like the Mechagodzilla design. Mothra's always good to see. She flies really well in this movie. The
final half, really the entire second half of the movie is all monster fights, and it never gets boring, really.
Yeah.
I like it. It's a fun, like, it's basically just one long fight scene, and it's good.
Also, the scale is pretty good in this movie. The suit looks like really massive and like scary.
The Godzilla suit.
Yeah.
It's the same Godzilla design from Against Mechagodzilla, but this time he's got that scar on his chest.
From where Mechagodzilla shot him in the chest.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And he's like angry now.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny.
I like this one.
And of course, Minya's in it again.
In Tokyo S.O.S.
Isn't he?
No, he's not. There is no Minya in Millennium.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking. Right. See, I told you, all of these Mechagodzilla movies blend together for me. And then we watched Godzilla 2000. Actually, no. I wrote this down because I remembered that we watched it and it wasn't on my list.
We took a quick break in between Against and Mechagodzilla 2 to watch versus Destroyah, which is I think is the best Heisei Godzilla movie.
I loved this movie a lot. I thought it was really cool.
I love Destroyah as a monster. I think it's really cool, and I like how a lot of it calls back to like the Oxygen Destroyer from the original movie. Destroyah's sweet again.
Destroyah's sweet. It starts out as a bunch of little monsters, a la Aliens.
Yeah. There's a whole scene that rips off of Aliens in this with a bunch of like soldiers fighting Destroyah babies in like this building, and they've got like motion trackers and stuff.
Right,
and it's a total rip off, but it's cool.
And Minya starts to grow and look more like Godzilla.
Godzilla Jr. looks like Godzilla in this, which is cool. And his death is tragic.
Yeah, he dies in this movie. But then once Godzilla dies, he absorbs all the radiation from Godzilla.
Well, okay, yeah. The plot of this movie is that like basically Destroyah is this new monster that was created by the Oxygen Destroyer, and it's gonna fight Godzilla, and that's the plot. Except Godzilla is having a nuclear meltdown in his heart, and in this movie he's glowing and smoking for the whole thing, and he just looks like he's in pain.
Yeah,
it's cool. I love burning Godzilla. It's like one of the best like creative decisions I think out of the entire series.
And then he does melt down eventually.
Well, first they think he's gonna explode.
Yeah,
and, like destroy like half the world.
I love that they have a really long meeting. And they're like, oh my god, he's gonna explode.
And then later it's like, oh, he's gonna melt. That's okay. No, it's actually not. That's
it's
the whole
not.
thing is like Godzilla's gonna die at the end and melt, so we're fucked either way.
Yeah.
But I think the fights are really cool. I love all the different forms Destroyer goes through. He has like 4 different forms in this movie.
Yep.
He's got the little babies, and then he's got a big walking form, and then he's got a flying one, and then those two combine to make this big Satan monster. I think the final Destroyer form is a little clunky for the hand-to-hand fights at the end. But there's some really great like splattery blood effects in this one too when they're finally fighting. And this one also has the Super X3 in it.
Oh yeah.
Which is the big plane thing, which is really cool. You didn't see the movies with the Super X1 and 2 in them.
No, I didn't.
Super X3 is really cool.
The Destroyah is huge.
Yeah. Oh my god, Godzilla's huge in this movie.
Yeah, I wish they would show. You don't really get a ton of scale. I didn't feel a lot of scale in this movie.
This movie?
Yeah, I didn't really.
I was gonna say this movie had some of the better city sets out of any of the Heisei movies, I think.
City sets were cool, but it did just feel like a guy and a bigger guy fighting.
I lose scale in Space Godzilla and in Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2, but Destroyah, I think everything feels pretty big to me.
Destroyah is huge in this movie.
It's a cool fight, and I like it gets really emotion-y at the end. Yeah. I feel when Godzilla melts at the end of this movie, like I really feel it.
Also, I love how he glows throughout. Oh, this is a really sad piece of fan art.
Why are you looking at fan art in the middle of this podcast?
I was just looking up the movie and that popped up.
Yeah, a lot of I've been hearing, especially recently, a lot of people saying that this movie's overrated, and I don't think so. I think it's great.
I think it's cool. There's a lot of stakes in this movie.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite Godzilla movies. The human characters are good too.
Human characters.
The recurring psychic character Miki Segusa throughout the Heisei series is always cool to see.
Right.
I like her.
And then moving on, we watched Godzilla 2000.
Godzilla 2000 is also one of my favorite Godzilla movies. I think based mostly on nostalgia, but also because it looks like an actual movie.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the cinematography in the human parts looks like it's shot differently than other Godzilla movies. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's a lot of handheld stuff a little bit, and it looks good. And I think the human characters in this one they're super likable.
Yeah, they are.
The father-daughter G-Force team is really great, and like the rivalry he has with Katagiri, the government worker, is really cool. And I love that Katagiri's supposed to be the bad guy, but all he wants to do is stop Godzilla, and I totally get it.
Yeah. I love G-Force as a concept. That's such a...
I forget what they call it in this movie. It's like the G network or something. It's like a bunch of people all over Japan, but you really only see the father-daughter duo.
Yeah.
The reporter character is the reluctant Godzilla photographer is
funny.
She's cool.
That's right.
And then I love just the concept of this movie is Godzilla versus a mysterious spaceship from the bottom of the ocean. I think it's super intriguing. And then when Orga actually comes out of the ship at the end.
That's right, and it just looks like a giant poop for a while.
I like the Godzilla movies that try to make Godzilla's biology the plot. The whole thing about Orga wanting to absorb the newly discovered regenerator G1 cells so that he can become a Godzilla and like take over the universe is really cool.
There's that's what I'm saying. What I said earlier, the interesting part of Godzilla is, and the way to do human characters is to like have them figure out things about Godzilla.
Yeah,
and that's.
The Godzilla biology is always really interesting because you can literally just make anything up about it, and I would believe it.
Yeah,
it's really interesting what you can do with that. So, yeah, Godzilla 2000 is super good.
And then
a lot of cool military stuff in that one too.
Yep. Somewhere in here, we also watched Pacific Rim.
Yeah, we did watch Pacific Rim,
which is a movie I will watch any day of the week.
Pacific Rim is my favorite movie while I'm watching it. Yeah. I think it's so much fun.
It's so fun, and all the characters are they're caricatures of something, but that's okay because it's not supposed to be this super serious movie.
I get so irrationally pissed off whenever people say that this movie is too silly
or it's not grounded enough,
cartoony, and it's like, how do you not know what this is going for?
Yeah, and it's an homage to all the Heisei Godzilla movies.
Yeah, and a lot of really just any giant monster thing.
Yeah,
like Gigantor and Ultraman and everything.
Also, I love big robots.
All of the robot designs are fantastic. All the monster designs are even better. The colors are amazing. The set design is just godly. Considering it's Del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. He's the coolest dude.
The production design in this movie is through the roof. Because of him, it's good. It's super fun.
So yes, we watched that just because I was like, it's a kaiju movie, Pacific Rim. So we watched Pacific Rim because I love that movie. And then we ended our marathon with the original Godzilla movie from 1954.
Oh yeah, and this was the first time you'd seen it.
Yes.
This is my favorite movie of all time. I think it's amazing.
It was really good. I was really, really impressed with it, especially seeing all the different places that Toho had gone with the Godzilla and the characters and aliens and Atlantis and everything.
And just going back to where it started.
Yeah, seeing what it what it started with and how simple it was. I thought it was really cool, and how much of a like hardcore symbol it was. Too.
Yeah, no, I think this movie, like, even now, like, today, like, when it came out, like, I can't imagine, but, like, I think it's a super important movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot, like, it was made in direct response to, you know, Hiroshima and Nagasaki and, you know, the growing threat of nuclear weapons and everything, and I think it's scary, and it's really somber and, like, poignant, and, like, there's so much drama. It's heavy.
It's really
It's
heavy.
a really heavy movie.
I think that it's an important movie, not just because of when it came out and what it represents, but it's just a good way to show how art can express something.
Yeah.
I think, especially film, like, as somebody who loves movies and wants to make movies that matter, you want to watch movies that matter and have mattered, and this is a movie that...
There's a reason this movie's in the Criterion Collection.
Yeah, and there's a reason this movie was made, is because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a thing in Japan. You weren't supposed to go and make movies about Nagasaki and Hiroshima. So
I think, actually, I remember reading that it was illegal to really kind of make movies about the atomic bomb during the U.S. occupation of Japan, which ended in 52.
Yeah. But it's still kind of like a you don't do that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because it's something that nobody wants to talk about, and so you do it in a way that is not that it's a good movie, but it's also got this.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for people to go see it that isn't the symbolism.
And I'm not sure how true this is, but even like that scene with the choir singing or like mourning the loss of all the people killed in the Godzilla attack, I'm fairly certain was an actual mourning ceremony for Hiroshima victims.
Right, and just the design of Godzilla is supposed to look like keloid scars and.
Yeah, like if you look at the original concept for Godzilla, his head was originally supposed to be shaped like a mushroom cloud.
Uh-huh.
You can kind of see it in the head. I think Godzilla is really scary in this movie too.
He is.
There's a lot of the shots of, I think the black and white serve this movie so well, and a lot of the shots of Godzilla, like, you know, kind of like I was talking about that classic shot of like Godzilla from underneath with like the wires above the street in between the camera and Godzilla. It looks, and Godzilla's like a silhouette. In the darkness for a lot of this movie, and it's very scary looking.
Godzilla coming over the hill with all the villagers running away from him.
Oh, that shot is classic.
Yeah.
They even kind of recreated that scene in Giant Monsters All Out Attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it's a really good movie to watch, not just as a giant monster movie, but as a movie, I think. Which is something that I can't say about a lot of the Godzilla movies that I watched. Like, there's a lot of movies from the Heisei series and from even earlier and from the Millennium series that I liked, but I didn't like as like one of my like movies that I recommend to people as like a great film. And this one I would.
I just love how it also avoids the happy ending.
Yeah.
Too. I think it's like, I just like how the reality of the situation was that Godzilla was this product of nuclear weapons and atomic energy and all these horrible things, and then the only way to get rid of him at the end was to just kill him with a stronger, scarier weapon.
Yeah, and
it's not like you're not supposed to cheer really. It's like, yeah, they defeated the monster, but it's like, what kind of world do you live in at that point?
And then the character of the scientist who creates the oxygen destroyer is...
Dr. Serizawa is an amazing character. All the human characters in this movie are great.
Yeah, they're really good.
I love all their little plights. It's really, at its core, I think, every Godzilla movie is such like a fun monster romp after this one for the most part, but this movie is just such like a straight up tragedy.
Yeah, it's well, and it really reflects what it was supposed, the symbol it was supposed to be. And I think that's a good thing.
It's, super, super... I really, really appreciate this movie. And seeing it in the theater, I saw this movie in a theater in an Alamo Drafthouse a couple years ago, back in 2014 came out, and it was like the bomb.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of that. And so that was the end of our Kaiju-Cast. The first half of this was Kaiju-Cast. And so now let's go back and let's both say, like, recommend 3 to people.
Okay. I recommend my favorite Godzilla movies, which should definitely be the original 1954 one. The Japanese version, not the English version with Raymond Burr added into it.
Yeah.
That's the version you watch if you want just like a sci-fi 50s monster movie. But if you want like a real, like, If you want like a film, go with the Japanese one. And then I would recommend Giant Monsters All Out Attack. And then, because that's easily one of my favorites.
That's
and
a
then
fun one.
my third is maybe a tie between Godzilla 2000 and versus Destroyah, I think.
Yeah. And then I would definitely recommend the original in 1954. I would urge people to watch Daimajin. I think that one is a really great movie.
Yes.
That's another one that I would recommend just as a movie.
The whole trilogy, really?
Yeah, I haven't seen the rest yet, but
Yeah.
I'm looking
They
forward
were shot
to
as
seeing
one
the rest.
movie.
Yeah, you said that,
Yeah.
as like a serial. So, and then probably I would recommend either Against Mechagodzilla or Tokyo S.O.S. I had a lot of fun with those. I think the monsters are awesome. And
It's just a fun monster time.
oh, except Megalon. You have to watch Megalon.
And Final Wars.
Megalon and Final Wars. Those are just the two most fun movies ever. So you gotta watch them.
Alright, so last night we went down to the theater, which was super close to where we live, thankfully. We could walk to it, and we saw Shin Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla, the newest movie in the Godzilla series, directed by Hideaki Anno.
And Shinji Higuchi.
Oh man.
And can I just say, like, not only have I been so excited for this movie since it was announced, like, shortly after Godzilla 2014 came out, but this is literally the Godzilla movie I've always wanted.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
It's
amazing.
First of all, one of Joe is Hideaki Anno and Joe.
When they announced Hideaki Anno as the director of this movie, that was just my dream director for this. And he wrote the script too, by himself. He was the only screenwriter on this movie, and like, man, I love Evangelion, and I love Godzilla even more. And when you combine the two, I pooped my pants.
I wasn't there, but I bet he did poop his pants.
Oh, I totally did.
And that's what he's been doing for the past week. When we
Just fucking waiting for it.
Yeah, whenever I would mention how many days left we had until he watched it, he would like bounce up and down with excitement. That is not hyperbole. That's not hyperbole. He actually did bounce up and down with excitement. So let's talk about it. I guess basically let's give it a review.
Okay, so I had read a lot of reviews for this movie. A lot of English reviews for this movie that referred to the movie as a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was supposed to be satirical going into it, but I wasn't prepared for how satirical. I think the first half of this movie is almost a straight comedy.
Yeah,
it's like you could take it seriously.
It's really throwing punches at the Japanese government.
Basically, the whole movie is this criticism of the Japanese government and like the bureaucracy and like its failure to respond in times of disaster, namely 3/11, which was the Fukushima meltdown back in March of 2011 and the earthquake, which this whole movie is basically a reference to.
Right.
It's just this spread of like, it's this catastrophe and like a spread of radiation, but it also, I think it's also a little heavier than that. It kind of shows you the other side of the coin with like, it's like, yeah, okay, maybe these government, maybe the politics isn't doing its best to save the situation, but it's also a lot about, you got to think about the people involved. And it's about a lot of the people who are trying their best to not be on the wrong side of history, because nobody really wants to make that final decision.
Right.
And I think
there's a lot of discussion about like what the future of Japan needs to be, and what the people now need to be doing to prepare for the future of Japan, and what the people now need to do in response to other nations trying to help Japan, and a lot of Japan trying to get back its own like sense of self, which I think is a really it's a really cool message. There's a lot of dealings with foreign ministries in this movie, and a lot of it basically at the end, one of the main characters is just like, get them all out of here, we're going to be Japan for once, which I think is a really neat message to send. I think, let's start with the human side of this movie. Like,
I loved it.
Yes, I did too. I think there's a really good sense again of humanity in this movie. Especially, this is one of the best political movies I've ever seen, which is interesting to say.
Oh my god, it works so well as a political thriller. Honestly, like, it's almost not a giant monster movie.
Right. It's a movie about the government dealing with the giant monster.
It's the most realistic portrayal of a government, of like a political response to a sci-fi disaster that I've ever seen. And the movie opens at this blistering pace. It's so quick out the door, and it never slows down.
It starts with there's a plume of steam in Tokyo
This
Bay.
movie opens with the Godzilla attack. This is the first time Godzilla has ever appeared in Japan in this movie's canon, and it opens with it.
I think one of my favorite things about this movie is how that it's the Godzilla attack is the whole movie.
Yeah.
I think that's the best part about it, is that especially dealing with the human aspect of it, it really puts you in the position of the people going through it, which is you don't get. And the one that I can think of is in Giant Monsters All Out Attack. That's the only one that I really connect into, like, wow, this must be what it's actually like with the reporter lady. But being what is the name of the main character?
Rando Yaguchi.
Yeah, Yaguchi is a great lead.
Well, that's the
character.
thing, is that, like, okay, so a lot of people criticize Godzilla 2014 for being a reboot that didn't have a strong human lead, and then this movie doesn't either, but the thing that this movie does well is that you could really argue that there almost isn't a central character. Like, Rando is the main character.
Yaguchi is, yeah.
But, like, the movie, it's such a team effort for the most part.
Oh, and I think my favorite group of characters in this movie is the Godzilla research team that they get together in the 5th floor of the building, and basically the government gets them together and be like, we called in biologists, they did nothing. You guys are losers and freaks and weirdos.
Except Shinya Tsukamoto plays a biologist in this movie, and he's great.
Yes,
I love him.
And then they go, all right, you figure it out.
Yeah,
and it's basically a puzzle, and like at that point it's a mystery.
they're trying to solve the Godzilla genome.
Yeah,
Basically,
which is really interesting.
it's super super cool, and I love Godzilla in this movie. He's first of all like he's scary in this movie again.
Oh yeah,
He's not
Oh
fun.
my gosh.
He's terrifying. Second of all, the biology of Godzilla in this movie is grotesque. He's basically like the xenomorph equivalent of a Godzilla. He like his life cycle is just gross, and then like he looks like it's painful to exist.
Yeah, well, I think
it's a thing that shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think the interesting part about this, especially through the eyes of the human characters, is that they saw it coming, or at least one person saw it coming, and then.
Well, the whole thing was that, like, the movie opens with the Godzilla attack because no one did see it coming. It's about how, like, disasters can strike at any moment and you wouldn't be prepared for it. And that's why the movie opens with a Godzilla attack.
Right, except for the one scientist who was banished from Japan.
Goromaki?
Goromaki.
Who you never meet.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you? I thought you did once.
He disappeared from the boat, didn't he?
Did he? I thought he was the dude on the bench.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because remember he gave them the file, and in the file it said, "Do what you will."
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Sorry, I forgot about that. Well, then the other thing was that also the United States knew about the existence of Godzilla for the longest time, but they kept it under wraps.
Yeah, the revelation scene near the end where they fold all the papers and they realize, they go, oh wow, it's just made up of a bunch of little things.
Yeah, it's origami. Yeah.
Well, no, I think that's a really cool thing for the biology of Godzilla too, is that it's basically. It's made of like microorganisms that got mutated and turned into one big microorganism.
Yeah. And no, oh my god, I love the threat of Godzilla in this movie. Is basically they discover that Godzilla is his genome is so far advanced and it's so bizarre that he's not at the whims of nature to evolve. He evolves when he needs to survive.
Yep.
So Godzilla takes what gets thrown at him and then he adapts to it accordingly.
Yes.
And so the whole thing is that they need to stop Godzilla before he reaches the stage of evolution where he can like totally fuck up mankind in general.
Yep.
And I think that's terrifying.
It's so Hideaki Anno, too.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think, and the ways that all the characters have to do with everything, a lot of people have been complaining about the American, in quotations, the American
Satomi Ishihara's character.
Yeah.
Kyoko and Patterson.
A lot of people were complaining about Patterson, how she was a lame character.
I've heard her described as more of a plot device than a character, and I think that's true, and I think that's also okay.
But I also thought she was funny. Like, I thought she was...
I liked her attitude.
She added a lot of levity to them, especially at that point, because at that point, all of the government stuff was, like, going down.
She has dreams of being the United States president by the time she's 40.
Yeah, but at the point that she comes in, she basically comes in speaking English, and she's like, yeah, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do this. Hey, America.
She's the U.S. ambassador, and, like her English isn't super great and not super believable, but I liked her character at least. And the whole cast is amazing.
Yeah,
this movie's cast is like stellar. There's so many names in it that I recognize, and they're all great.
All like 5 of the major like political people are like really well done.
Yeah.
And then my favorite cast is the cast of the people figuring out the genome of Godzilla.
Yeah.
That's my favorite group of
This
people.
movie is about 80%, I would say like 80% meetings and then 20% Godzilla, and that's so okay because the meeting stuff is just so interesting to watch.
It's so riveting. It's crazy.
This has the fastest cuts of any movie I've seen in quite a while. The editing in this movie is slick.
Another running joke that Hideaki Anno added in is everybody has a title.
Yeah, there's a title that comes up on screen for everything, for like every person, every plane, every location, and it's so like, it's so jarring at first.
Yeah, but then it's just become like at first you wonder what the point of it is, and then you're in on the joke after a while. Yeah, but I thought it was funny. There's a lot of comedy, just like in the middle of everything.
Yeah, but the comedy never gets in the way of things this movie gets tragic.
Yeah.
The halfway point of this movie where shit takes a turn, where Godzilla just basically nukes Tokyo, is just so heavy.
After watching it and thinking about it a little, this movie reminds me a lot of Tokyo S.O.S.
Really?
Or is it against or is it Destroyah? It's Destroyah. Destroyah. This movie reminds me a lot of Destroyah.
Oh, yeah. I can see where this
especially the glowing Godzilla, the meltdown possibility. It reminds me a lot of
the possibility was that he was going to bud. He was going to start budding and breeding new Godzillas.
But also he's been leaking radiation the entire time.
That's the other thing. This movie actually deals with the threat of Godzilla's range of radioactivity, which I don't think really any of the other movies ever dealt with. Like,
except for
the original movie
Destroyah.
talks about... that was always threat of a meltdown, so that was always going to... that's more of like just residual radiation, I mean.
Yeah.
And like the original movie kind of deals with that, with like radioactive footprints from Godzilla and stuff, but this movie talks about how like Japan's literally not going to be livable.
Right, and especially Tokyo, they're going to have to completely scrap everything and rebuild.
Yeah.
They're like redoing what happened in Nagasaki.
The stakes are so high.
All of the what do you call it? Getting people out of the city. The evacuation. All of the evacuation is so realistic in this movie.
They're literally like, oh man, it's like, I hope traffic won't be bad because we have to evacuate 3 million people.
And they're, and all the people who die in the evacuation that they just show. They're like, all those people probably died right there. And I don't know, it's crazy. And then all of the foreign nations trying to get involved and offering support and then telling them that they're going to nuke Tokyo and just everything.
It's scary.
It's so serious, and the message is kind of heavy-handed, but I think it works.
I don't think the message is heavy-handed. I think it's basically it's an updated version of the message from the original film.
Yeah.
I think, and it's also a very nationalistic movie in terms of Japan. The movie's tagline on all the posters was Japan against Godzilla, and there's randos constantly saying to his colleagues, like, you know, don't give up on this country and stuff like that. Like, we can't let them nuke Tokyo because that's just, we're Japan. We need to exist. And it's like, I'm afraid that a lot of the movie's politics and a lot of its, you know, kind of rah-rah Japan attitude is going to be lost on American audiences. So far, that doesn't really seem to be the case to me.
That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, I think, is the nationalism of this movie.
It's so critical of the government, but it's so pro-country at the same time.
There's
a difference between
there's a lot of knocks on democracy and a lot of knocks on bureaucracy. But not on Japan.
Yeah, directly. It's critical of the people in charge, and not so much the establishment itself, I think. Which is, again,
there's a couple knocks on the U.S. in this movie, like just like straight up like, oh man, this is classic American, and the bureaucracy and democracy part of it is, I can definitely see that being a part of it too,
but it's critical of the bigwigs in charge, but again, it also kind of makes you sympathize with them, because again, like nobody wants to make those decisions.
Right. No, and that's the best part about it, is you felt like you were there with every single one of the political members.
After the prime minister dies and like the agriculture chief takes over as like the stand-in prime minister, and he's basically forced to agree to nuke Tokyo.
Yeah.
And you at first you don't agree with him at all, but then you kind of realize that like he's kind of like everyone's backs are against the wall, and he doesn't have a choice, and you just feel bad.
And the entire time he's talking about how he doesn't want to be remembered for the guy who nuked Tokyo.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking sad.
It is sad, and the whole time I think Yaguchi's his thing, like, I'm gonna be prime minister in 10 years. So that's gonna be my thing.
Yeah.
And the whole time people are like, well, then you need to know what you need to do. And I think it's a good message.
One of my favorite parts of this movie, it was kind of a joke, but it was also kind of a heavy moment when somebody tells Yaguchi that he's basically in charge now.
Yeah.
All of these people above him have either been killed off, or he's just took over their positions, and a title comes up for Rendo Yaguchi again, and his title takes up the entire screen.
Yeah.
It covers the whole screen, and it tells you all these positions that he has. And at first it's kind of a joke, and you're like, haha, and then you realize, wait, oh shit, this guy is carrying the country on his shoulders.
And then he makes a remark, too. He goes, well, I don't really care about dying because I know that there's a million people who can replace me now. Like, I know that it'll be easy to replace me.
And, yeah.
I was going to say something, too. Text. I think the use of text and things covering the screen in this movie.
One of my favorite parts of this movie was when the guy runs into the meeting room, the 5th floor, like, Godzilla research team room with the computer, because he cracked the code, and the camera is literally inside the computer, and you see what they're looking at on the screen layered over the shot.
They do that a couple times. There's a point where the prime minister he's asking one of his advisor, one of his cabinet members, like, whether it's legal to do something, and they have the whole law on the screen.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moments in this movie that I wish I read Japanese, basically.
There's other quick moments too. Like, I know in the beginning of the movie there was a shot where one of the characters hung up a phone on the camera. Like, he just slammed it down onto the camera lens.
Yeah.
And it was such a quick cut. And again, like, the cinematography in this movie was just amazing. Like, every shot, like, it was never, like, when it's people standing around in a room talking, it's, like, not only is it super quick, but every angle is different, and they use things like fisheye lens and, like, zooms and pans, and, like, it was amazing.
And every character was different, which I really appreciated.
None of the characters really had backstories, but they all had quirks, and they were really, really discernible.
But I think it's really easy to kind of make an inference as what all their backstories were just based on how they act. Yeah. Which I really appreciated,
too. People always, I've seen movies do things where people criticize it for characters not being relatable, but I think your character should be interesting, and relatable, I think, is just a bonus.
Yeah.
And I think every single character in this movie was just interesting to me.
Right. Well, because I can't relate with the new prime minister who was handed it and has to nuke his country.
Yeah, I just feel for the guy.
Yeah, I can't relate to that, but
I wasn't bored listening to anyone in this movie. I thought they were all everyone in this movie is so energetic and everybody's so quirky that it's like there's so much fun to watch.
Well, and they just kind of even though they're a little quirky, they feel like real people. I think
Yeah,
and I guess I can't really judge acting because I can't really understand how they're saying the words, but just seeing the words and watching them say it is good.
I actually read somewhere that someone's review that some of the sarcasm was lost in the subtitles. Apparently there were like a few lines of dialogue in this movie that were supposed to come off as sarcasm that just like if you don't understand the language, it just wouldn't.
Yeah, I wish I could watch this movie without subtitles. I feel like I would gain so much from being able to read and understand Japanese.
Yeah, like again, this movie's like a bunch of meetings, but it's just so amazing to look at too.
Well, and I think, you know what, that also contributes to the big pro-Japan theme of this movie.
Yeah.
Is if you're Japanese, you are going to...
This movie is the highest grossing live action movie in Japan this year, I think.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think it's a movie made for the Japanese people.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, which I think is really neat.
But it's still pretty sweet.
And do you want to talk about the monster?
Godzilla?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. A lot of people are complaining about him. A lot of people think it's an unfaithful incarnation of the character, but I think it's sweet. Because the character's 60 years old. Yeah. You have to reinvent it at some point. You can't be doing the same old shit over and over and over again. I love the new additions to this weird powers.
Like the evolution thing. I think it really makes sense for the character. Especially when you're wondering how Godzilla could ever come to be. The idea of the nuclear waste mutating microorganisms into something that can evolve faster than everything. I think that's such a cool idea.
It evolves when it wants to.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing. And stuff like... I wish I had gone into this movie blind because stuff like the back lasers and the tail lasers would have just... Like seeing it in action in the movie... Like, I had read about it, but seeing it in action in the movie was just, like, fucking amazing. And just... stuff, the atomic breath. This movie has the best atomic breath scene in any Godzilla movie.
You know what? I think his like napalm breath is way cooler.
Yeah, he bends over and he opens his mouth and he just starts vomiting exhaust. And that wide shot of Godzilla in the street with all the exhaust like going through in between the buildings for miles and miles.
And then he ignites it and it goes.
Yeah, he ignites it and it turns into just napalm and he just nukes the city and he like bends up and it concentrates into a laser beam and the range of that thing.
I know.
Was just amazing.
You don't know where it ends. Is the cool part.
I don't know. I wanted to see like satellite imagery of like this little purple line. It was amazing and like I think people always talk about that scene in Godzilla 2014 where he breathes atomic breath down the Muto's throat.
Yeah.
But this movie tops it.
Oh yeah.
This is the best Godzilla atomic breath scene I've ever seen.
It was amazing. Really, really
and
cool.
And the music that they played during that scene was so like.
The music in general is really well done.
I love how they used all the old arrangements of Akira Ifukube's score from like multiple different older Godzilla movies, but the new Shiro Sagisu music is just so good.
Yes. And yeah, I just thought it really contributed to the tone. I wish the sound design was a little better overall. It kind of was just like stereo and that's it. But
I appreciate that they did like a half and half of new sound effects and old-timey tokusatsu sound effects.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it because I know Hideaki Anno loves tokusatsu and like I showed you the Giant God Warrior short film.
Yeah.
And everything which kind of did the same thing. I think they pulled it off. I think it was fine. I wish Godzilla had I like that they used the old roar, but I feel like a new roar would have been just as welcome.
Yeah, I think the old roar worked really well, though.
Yeah, I liked it. That in the beginning of the movie when Godzilla goes through his third form of evolution and he rears back and roars and you hear that 1950s Godzilla roar come out of him and it's super loud. It was really cool.
Yeah. Talking about the distinct forms, I think it made sense.
It makes sense. It's just a lot of people, I guess, just aren't keen on the concept and the designs. A lot of people say that the first Godzilla form looks kind of funny, and I think maybe people are missing the point that maybe that was kind of the point there. I think the point of the first Godzilla form, the really fishy-looking one, was supposed to be sort of half and half.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be it's supposed to gross you out, but it's also supposed to make you go, what?
I think So I went in, and you told me that there was form changing. But I had not seen any but the one in the trailer.
Yeah, the final form.
The final form, and freaked me out the first time that I saw it with its giant eyes. And
yeah,
it's just kind of like
it's like jiggling around, and it has to like crash into buildings in the street to like keep its weight up and stuff.
Yeah, it's freaky. The eyes people laugh at, but dude, that's...
And not only that, but it was like the first shot in the movie where you see Godzilla clearly, like in daytime, is just this wide shot of people running in the street with this big ugly fish Godzilla walking behind them.
Yeah.
And it's so jarring.
And he's dripping blood from his gills.
From his gills to cool off. And yeah, like I was sitting next to like Kai in the theater, and his immediate reaction was, "What the fuck?"
The guy next to me laughed. I was really mad.
I was kind of both. I was kind of smiling because I just thought it was super cool, but I was also kind of like, ugh.
I know.
That's nasty.
Well, I smiled because it was cool and it freaked me out.
I just love the cut.
The guy next to me laughed at everything, though. I thought it was really lame. He was like laughing at everything, and I don't know if it was like actually making like he went to make fun of the movie or because he was really excited.
I think he was just having a good time. He in that middle scene where Godzilla uses his atomic breath for the first time, he was freaking out, and I was also freaking out, and I kind of looked past you, and we made eye contact for a minute, and he was like, ah, and I was like, ah, and we were like, had like this little moment.
Yeah.
He was there for all the right reasons. I like that guy.
He bothered me, but that was my movie.
I was having a great...
I'm a person who doesn't cheer at movies and likes to watch them alone in the dark, so
yeah.
I go to movies for very different
I think it's
reasons.
cool when you go to a movie and people have audible reactions to what's seen on the screen. Like, if somebody laughs at the wrong moment, then it's annoying, but if something really awesome happens and, like, the crowd goes like, ooh, or they like, clap or something is really cool. Like, I don't know if you heard everybody kind of, like, audibly react to the back lasers.
Yeah,
I did. The back lasers, they come out of nowhere, and like so many people in the audience were like, ah!
Yeah.
Whoa!
I did that too. And the tail laser too.
Yeah.
No, I really liked again, I thought the design really called back to versus Destroyah with the glowing and the...
I think it's its own thing, and it also looks a lot like the original 1954 Godzilla in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of like glowing like Destroyah, but I think it's so new and fresh at the same time, and I genuinely think it's one of the best designs of Godzilla ever.
Yeah,
I'm still so scary looking.
I'm still partial to like early Millennium stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean that's cool for the fun monster stuff, but for your serious like, symbolic Godzilla film, I think it's amazing, and it just makes sense with the biology.
It doesn't. Yeah, I agree.
Everything, and it's just bizarre too.
It's bizarre. I think did you see the part where its eyes glazed over to like chrome?
Yeah, the part where he ignited his napalm breath and his eyes he had this weird secondary eyelid close over. That happened a few times. It happened once again when the military dropped bombs on him and they hit him and bounced off of his face.
Oh, you know what?
For a split second, you see his eye close.
I'm mad that we never got to see the drill bombs.
Oh yeah, they did mention those.
Because that's like super giant monsters all out attack.
I'm glad that they didn't do that. I like that they... well, I mean, they kind of did, didn't they?
They just dropped American bombs on his spines.
Oh yeah, well they used the stealth bombers that dropped the... Yeah, and oh my god, that image of all the Godzilla blood like spewing out of his back and like falling onto the street was really neat.
Yeah.
Too. Very Ava.
I really enjoyed it. I thought the monster was cool. I thought the people were cool, and I really liked the overall tone and message of the movie too.
It's one of the more entertaining movies I've seen this year for sure.
And
it's easily one of my favorite Godzilla movies now. Like I might just be saying that because it's hype, but it was great.
It was really
again
good.
that was the Godzilla movie that I wanted from Godzilla 2014. I wanted the serious, the symbolic, and the just the serious Godzilla movie again. That's what I've always wanted, and it delivered in spades. It was awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and having just watched 18 kaiju movies in preparation, I thought it held up against every single one that I watched.
It was such good payoff. All the monsters, all the Godzilla stuff in the movie was amazing. Do you want to talk about the final shot?
Let's talk about the final shot.
So the final shot of the movie is this slow pan of like dead, frozen Godzilla. Dead Fred Dead, frozen, coagulated Godzilla standing in the city, and you can kind of see the tip of his tail looks really weird in the distance, and the camera kind of pans up to it, and then there's this super close-up shot of his tail, and there's like giant human skeletons sort of frozen, morphing out of it with Godzilla spines on it, and it's so haunting to look at.
Yeah, it really is.
Really, really creepy image to end the movie on.
But it is, and it makes people think, but it's probably just the mini Godzillas that almost were.
I think there's a literal way to interpret it as like Godzilla's last ditch effort to evolve before, being defeated. But I also think there's ways you can interpret it. Like, I think symbolically too.
Humans were the bad guys, and
or that like
we are the monster.
I think it was a lot like Godzilla is a horrible, horrible problem, but he's a problem that we're a part of.
Yo, that too, yeah.
And I also think it had a little bit to do with evolution too, and stuff like that. And it was really scary looking too. It was a really great design.
And there's a lot of hype behind it, but I think it is what it is. Like, it is what you make it, that little shot, so.
Yeah.
But I like that Godzilla is still alive. Like, he's just frozen.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I think that's fun.
I just want to know what they're gonna do with the body.
I know. Well,
He's just standing
they're
there.
Basically like, yeah, we have to live with Godzilla now. But what, he has a half-life of like 15 years, like his cells do.
Yeah, they found out that the radiation would dissipate in 2 to 3 years or something like that.
Yeah,
and then Tokyo would be livable again, which is cool. You turned to me and mentioned that the final plan to coagulate his blood at the end of the movie played out like a final boss of a video game.
Yeah, it did. So
they had to throw all the train bombs at him, and then when he fell over, they had to quick run up to him with the cranes and inject the coagulant into him, and then he would get up again. They'd have to do the same thing.
Yeah,
it was cool.
It was a final boss of a video game. That's exactly what it was.
I was worried that they weren't gonna defeat him in any sort of way that was creative or anything, but it was neat. That's not what I expected.
It was weird. There wasn't like, I love that the classic let's destroy Godzilla with tanks and planes thing. It worked for a little bit, and then they dropped a bomb on him, and he evolved.
He freaked out. Yeah. That's the other thing. I like Godzilla's attitude in this movie. They say it in the movie. It's like they're trying to figure out his behavior, and they're like, "What does it do? How does it behave?" And they're like, "It just walks.
He walks.
It's just a walking cloud of death."
Well,
that's scary.
And the whole time they were like, "It's an organism. Do we shoot it? That it could freak out if we shoot it."
That's the scary bit. Is when earlier on in the movie when they're still not quite sure what they're dealing with, and they're like, "It's an organism. We can kill it. It's a living thing. We can get it." And then later on in the movie, they try saying it again. They're like, "It's an organism. We can kill it, right?" And the one biologist is like, "I don't know anymore.
Yeah. We
don't know if it's evolved past mortality." That's scary.
Yeah, maybe it's evolved to be immortal.
That's so freaky to me.
And I love the attitude of the scientist who initially theorized Godzilla and was like,
the guy with the scarf.
No, the one who we only saw on the bench.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, "Do whatever, it's on you." But yeah, I thought it worked. I thought the whole thing worked really well.
I thought it was amazing.
I thought it was really good.
I had a great time.
I don't think I liked it as much as the original. I think the original. I do think that.
The original is still my favorite.
Yeah, I think Shin Godzilla did. It was more about its message than the movie, and I think Godzilla was in a way like that too. But it's like equal parts. Like you can watch it as a message or you can watch it as a movie, and I think this tipped the scales a little more towards message than movie.
Heavy satire.
Yeah, so.
But it's also extremely entertaining. So
right.
I sort of disagree with you, but I can also see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think it's just tipped just a little bit more towards message than movie, but I think that's fine.
I just think it's the first Godzilla movie since the original that I can safely say is just a really, really good script.
Yeah.
If I was just reading the script for this movie, I'd be like, this is riveting.
It's awesome.
You can't say that about any other Godzilla movie.
And we did, because we watched it with subtitles, so...
Yeah, we basically did.
So we read the script, and it worked.
It's amazing. It's awesome.
I don't know how I'm going to feel about an English dub.
I don't plan on watching it when it comes out. I think this movie... it's such a Japanese movie.
Yeah.
I don't think I could watch it.
Well, and especially there's a part in this movie where they discuss the name of the monster and the
I don't know how they're gonna avoid
the
that.
original. They're like the name that it was given by the Americans was Godzilla.
They call him Godzilla before they call him Gojira in this movie,
which is
I think
interesting.
kind of
Which
funny.
I think in the dub they're gonna have to call him Gojira for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, which would be cool.
Which would be cool.
I'm just excited to see the cast that Funimation chooses to dub it.
Right.
I think will be pretty sweet to see. If they do dub it.
Yeah. Do you think Anno is gonna have any say in which?
Well, that was the problem with Evangelion 3.0 was that Studio Kara wasn't happy with the translation that was released in theaters, so that's why it took so long to come to Blu-ray, because they had to make a bunch of changes to the script and they had to okay it with Studio Kara.
Right.
So I don't know. Well, but then again, like that's the reason for that was because a lot of the dialogue in 3.0 is super cryptic, but this movie's so straightforward.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll have an issue.
No, but do you think Anno's gonna have a say in which actors?
No,
No.
that's Funimation's deal. I don't think he cares.
yeah, I see that.
It's like whatever.
I don't know.
No one in Japan is gonna be watching the English dub anyway.
But anyway, good movie, good series of movies.
I love Godzilla. I love the original and I love Shin Godzilla.
I fell in love with Godzilla. I'm gonna have to buy all these movies now.
Shin Godzilla was so good.
I
cried.
didn't notice, but I'm not surprised.
I didn't cry, but I wanted to. It was beautiful.
It was really good. I liked it. I can understand why you've been so excited for it. As a Godzilla fan, I can understand why some people wouldn't like it and where some other people would like it. I thought it was good.
Yeah. It was awesome.
So thanks for watching our podcast, Uncultured.
They didn't watch it, they listened to it.
Thanks for listening to Uncultured Swine. I'm Ethan.
I'm Joe.
Tune in next time when we talk about some more movies. Maybe just one movie.
I'll try not to cough next time, too.
Yeah, we're both super sick. It's great. It's great. Goodbye.